Welcome back everybody! Whether you're checking out Luminar Neo or if you're just trying to find a full editing process for a nature photo, this is the right place. A while ago I took this photo, and I swear to baby Jesus I started editing this thing at least 5 times in Photoshop. But because I could never really figure out where I want to go with it, I literally rage quit. Every single time. Finally, I dropped it into Luminar and turned it from this crap to this super calm nature scene from Lord of the Rings, or benches in this case. So in this video we'll go over the bigger editing steps of my editing history to show you how simple it was to create this nature photo with Luminar Neo. Oh, and do note, I know that some people have a process. They may start with the colors and then move on to the luminosity. I don't. I'm random like that. Let's go. I started off with the Accent AI filter. This generally brightens the image a good bit. Next, I added some contrast and reduced the highlights of this baby, making the photo a little crisper. Now, have a look at the top right. That white nothing is the sky, and in this case it adds nothing to my image. So I thought, why not add some sun there? Drop the sun on the top right and use the settings on the right to achieve a somewhat natural look to start with. And as I drop the sun, remember that you have to drop your thumb on that subscribe button. It's getting worse, isn't it? I'm gonna go to YouTuber hell. Next, I picked the landscape section and added a tad of golden hour, which basically made the greens in the back a bit stronger and added some warm color tone to the image overall. Now that we have the groundwork, I used another development adjustment in which I decreased the brightness and that I painted into the foreground. We are finally starting to get some depth here. And at that moment I had the final image in my head. Finally. Now, check out the background. There was a little bit too much detail in it for me, so I used a mystical adjustment to change that. Basically, it creates a bit of a dreamy effect. So I brushed that one in to the background. To add an eye catcher, I used a color adjustment to change the color of the leaves to something more red. And yes, I know conifer leaves usually would get brown and not red, but I like it. Sue me. Now, with a bit of red in the ground, I used another development module to add some contrast and painted that into the foreground. This basically just made the bottom edge a little bit darker. You might not be able to see that properly on screen, but to add even more warmth to the image, I used the color harmony adjustment as shown on the right. You'll see the effect a bit better if we zoom in on the sky on our self-made sun. Sweet, right? Now, another vignette with increased inner brightness draws attention to the background part of the image, which is awesome. I still didn't feel warm enough though, so I added a development module, so I added a tiny bit of yellow temperature and magenta tint. Now the thing is, at this point I was looking at the image for some minutes already during editing. When I work with colors, I usually do my edit and then get out and come back the next day, because then I realize if something is too yellow, too green, too red or whatever. And unfortunately that happened here too. We'll get to that later. The next development module here increased the brightness of the upper half. I felt like this guided the eye of the viewer a bit better. When I looked at the image at this point, I realized that some of the image was a little bit too bright. So I added another development module to bring that reduced exposure into some of these areas. And note, if you're wondering why I have 1,000 development modules, the reason is that I use masking to make sure each adjustment is only in specific areas, so I need multiple development modules. Makes sense. Now a day later I actually came back and I started to add more development modules where I turned the temperature back into the blue area instead of the yellow one, and I just painted that into specific regions that I thought were a little bit too yellow at that point. And as a very last step I used a curve adjustment layer where I simply increased the brightness like that, just to make it pop a little bit more. So, the complete before and after baffles me, and I am happy I finally got this photo done. Never shall I open or look at it again. If you like what you saw and you may be thinking about getting Luminar for yourself, make sure you use the link in the video description and also the promo code Let's Image at checkout. First of all, to support the channel if that is what you wish to do, and also to save some money. Now, I'm gonna go and upload this baby everywhere I know, and I shall see you the next time. Until then, stay safe and have a good one.